What's up, golf addicts? Welcome to another edition of the Tour Junkies podcast. And we do not stop. Even though the tour is winding down, we are still going to produce good content for you. And we've got a great interview for you today. This is a guy that's been on tour forever, since 2008, won for the first time in 2013 at the Tampa Championship. He's won the par 3 tournament at the Masters, actually. Lives in Scottsdale, Arizona right now. And you know what? He had a fantastic year on tour this past season. How about a T8 at the PGA Championship, top 15 at the U.S. Open, and a top 20 at the Open Championship? And we love this guy. Love watching him. That is Mr. Kevin Streelman. Streels, welcome to the Tour Junkies podcast.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Good intro there. I appreciate that.
Thank you. I figured I was going to fumble a little through that because DB.
No, you did well.
But that may have been my best one ever, maybe. I don't know.
I think it was. It was.
First off, I just want to know, what's your secret to staying on the PGA Tour for so long? You got all these young guys coming out every year. They've got all this new equipment and their fancy stuff that they bring to the driving range and whatever else. And, the game has become longer and more precise. So what's kind of been your secret to success over this long period of time?
Oh, man. I feel very fortunate. I haven't had a major injury yet. It's a huge knock on wood for me. I think a bit of it is smart practice. I'm always kind of looking at my stats, my strokes gained, where am I losing, where am I gaining strokes, and trying to work on those aspects of my game, try and take away really any weaknesses. I just feel fortunate. I love what I do. I love working at it. I love being in the heat of the battle and like in those moments. And, it's just been a blast. But I mean, it goes fast. You mentioned that. This is my 15th year out there. And, I remember being 27 and getting out there and just like being this rookie, this bushy eye, just running around, played like 34 events my first year. And my wife was my fiance at the time, Courtney, now my wife, obviously. But we had so much fun those first few years, and then slowly you introduce kids to it and you're dragging them around, staying at residence inns and eating at Chick-fil-A at 4:30 and like, just like getting through the day. And then now the kids have started school and activities, and now I'm kind of out there traveling by myself again. So it's kind of a different, era for me and a different part of my tour life, but I'm loving it too. I mean, I've become really good friends with some of these young guys. Scotty Scheffler, I ate with him 3 times in a row last week in Sea Island. Taylor Gooch and I have become great buddies. We share a bunch of wine together and just kind of, I love mentoring. I love like being the big brother to a lot of these guys and some of the caddies and like just kind of sharing life things, it goes so fast. I'm 40, just turned 43. Just bought a sick minivan. So, I mean, it's crazy. It just goes so fast but I'm still having a ton of fun. I think that's probably the biggest key of it all, just enjoying what I do, and I feel blessed to do it, and I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So
you said something interesting there when you're talking about mentoring and talking to these younger kids out on tour. I mean, when you're doing that, is it more about their golf, or is it more just like life on tour and your experience and that kind of thing?
No, it's more about life on tour. It's just, and that's just life in general, right? I mean, our lives are unique to say the least. When you miss 30 weeks a year at your home and your neighborhoods, and you miss birthdays and weddings and anniversaries and family stuff, you need to have a core group of friends and people you can rely on when you miss a bunch of cuts in a row. Just as important as if you win a few tournaments in a row. Like, you need that solidity in your game, but also in your heart and like in your existence and your being out there to know how you work in this circle. And I love talking to kids about like financial stuff. Do you have a good advisor that, what are you putting away? Where you staying at this week? Stay away from that hotel. The place is a dump. And, eat dinner here. This place is a little like hidden gem in Tampa that only, a few people know about. Like just stuff like that. I love doing. I love that they reach out to me. And like I said, just kind of being like a big bro to some of these guys. And then when they hit it past me, I love hitting my 7-iron inside of their 9-irons. So I let them know about that also. Yeah, I'll do it as long as I can.
I love it. You talk about them hitting it past you, though. Have you ever toyed with, maybe adding swing speed? That's the big deal. Swing speed.
That's a great question. Here's a kind of crazy stat. My rookie year on tour in '08, I think I averaged 293.5 off the tee, and I was 33rd on tour. I know at the end of last year, I was 296.5, almost 297, and I was 130th on tour. So, and my pretty much swing speed and ball speed have stayed the same. I've been able to hover around 170, 171, and 115 mile an hour club head speed my whole career. And so that's a big goal of mine. It's why I get up at 5 every morning. I'm on the Peloton for 30 minutes, and then I go to the trainers here at Premier Fitness, and I'm doing all my stretching and all our core work and speed work, and just doing as much as I can to stay there for as long as possible. And like I said earlier, you understand, okay, now I got to tighten up my wedges. Like I need to make a world-class short game, a world-class wedge play, because I'm giving up, basically giving up strokes on my distance. So I need to tighten up other realms of my game in order to stay out there. And so that's kind of what I've done through my 40s here, and will continue to do. And like I said, as long as I can.
What do you, enjoy doing? Before we started recording, you mentioned you got about 8 weeks off, I think, before we head into next season. What are you doing in your downtime? What's kind of the fun things for you to do other than getting up at 5 a.m. on the Peloton, which is not something I would do. But did you watch the match? Did you? What are you doing?
I turned it on. I turned the match on. I made it through the cupcakes, and then I turned it off. So I really lost interest after the cupcakes. And
which was on the first tee shot.
Mad at myself. I had tickets to that Duke game, and I've been gone 6 out of 8 weeks. The wife kind of said, Kev, you sure you want to go to Vegas for a night to go to the Duke game? And I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, you sure you want to? Then I had some friends who kind of bailed on me last second, so I ended up staying home and watching that game at home. But I mean, man, what a basketball game they had, and how good does Duke look? Being an alumni there, I obviously follow a lot of Duke basketball. But asking your question, I did make it 1 week without touching a golf club, and then actually I went today to Whisper Rock to hit a few balls just because I was extremely bored, and our minds just work like, oh, maybe if I change this or try this, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the summer or the middle of the winter. Like I'm still mentally, like I go crazy and just love working at this game. So I did go hit a few today, but it is taking it pretty easy. It's a ton of time with the kids. I love taking them to school. I love picking them up. My son Red has flag football today, so I'll go watch that. And we'll probably cook out on the grill tonight and have a nice glass of wine with my wife and just kind of really enjoy being home. This December month is just the greatest. We were going through the whole calendar. We went to a light show last night where you drive through and they play all the Christmas music and the kids are hanging out the side of, watching all that's all the good stuff that I really prioritize this time of year. So it's just a ton of family time, and I love it.
Good.
Do you do any tinkering with the equipment around this time of year? I know a lot of guys like to do that. Yeah,
we could dive down that golf nerd hole pretty far if you want. I did go 46-inch driver 4 or 5 events this fall. I played 6 events. I think the first 4 I did 46 inches, and I was hitting it pretty far. I got up to like 307, 308 average, gained a few miles an hour speed, but driving accuracy is, for the last 15 years on tour, last 25 years of my career, has been like my bread and butter. It's where I'm kind of where I make my money. And it slowly just saw a few shots I didn't like or was accustomed to seeing. So at Sea Island, I'd ping the driver I've used. I had him cut it down to 45 and kind of go back to Old Faithful. And I drove it on a string like in Sea Island. It was noticeable that that's where I need to be, 45-inch finished. So I'm actually, after we're done, I'm going to head down to ping. They made me up a backup, the old shaft, the right head, like just kind of going back to what I know. So I do that. I play the same 3-wood and 5-wood forever. I switched to the new Wilson CG irons, are just amazing. Loving those, and Wilson wedges. And it's funny, I got an old Scotty putter. I got it right here, actually. I'll grab it. This thing is like 14 years old. And this is actually the one I used. Yeah, I'll show you guys this whole golf nerd setup down here. But this is like just off the rack, beat up old studio stainless. Probably on eBay, you'd maybe get $20 for it, but that'd probably be pushing it a little bit. And it's funny because I've had this same grip on since I've had it. And I just noticed at Sea Island, the top started like spinning a little bit on me. So I take it to my buddy Aaron at Cool Clubs, who's like the only person who touches my clubs. He's a stud. And he goes, yeah, the tape underneath it is just disintegrated after 14 years. So he goes, do you want me to try and save the grip? He's like, there's no chance I can. I go, actually, please. Like this is the putter I won Travelers with. I birdied the last 7 with. Like this is my baby. And so he sticks it down. I'm like shaking. I'm so nervous. He sticks the rod down there. Got he's got the whole they put the what's it called? The spray down to kind of get it to slip off. And slowly he pulls it off. We put new tape on it and he put it back on. And I think we got it. So I've saved this grip from 14 years ago. And but I was nervous it would never look the same to me if I took the grip off. Like when you get the putter just right, you don't want to mess with it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I just picked this up about an hour ago, and I'm gonna hit a few putts down here. But do you want me to show you the putting?
Yeah, give us a tour. Hold on, let me see if I can get you full screen. Hang on. Let's see if I can work you. Yeah. All right, now.
Okay. So we have a basement in Phoenix, which is kind of unique. But as you come down the stairs, I had this done, which is a super cool plaque. It's 2 letters from Arnie, 1 from Jack, and 1 from Gary, and all signed by them. Before Arnold passed, you would get a letter, and for each win you had on the PGA Tour, there'd be a letter waiting for you the Tuesday at the next event, and signed by him. So, like for Hartford, It says, "What a finish and a way to win a tournament! Congratulations, certainly are in order. Look forward to having you on our field at Bay Hill next March." And then the Tampa one, that was an impressive finish for you yesterday at Innisbrook. Great way to win your first tournament on tour. Congrats! I'm pleased you have you in the field here this week. Perhaps I'll have a chance to congratulate you again in person.
That's very
cool, man.
That, and Jack, I wrote him a thank you note for letting me practice out at the Bears Club and gave him a little gift. And so he sent me back a thank you note. And then Gary sent us those when I played in Nedbank down in South Africa. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of put those all together.
That is awesome.
But
did Gary's letter have any like swing tips for you? I know he loves to give those out.
No, it's just some fitness. He said, get off your butt and start doing some sit-ups. So, come down here. I got kind of a bunch of random clubs and putters and leftover stuff. Yeah, that's from Tampa, my first win there, the actual board that they had it when I won.
That's very cool.
Bunch of cool memories, and I got some really cool Scotties. Bunch of old Newport 2s and GSSs. See those there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of different flavors there. Some mallets over there and some, you like those?
Mm-hmm.
And a bunch from the majors. Got the kids a bunch of teddy bears from that. This is kind of a fun one. This is the best shot of my life. My caddy gave me this, AJ. This was the back right pin on 13 at Tampa the year I won. I had a cut 5-iron from 194 into the wind to a back right pin to about 6 feet, made the putt for birdie.
That's
went on to win the tournament, so that was cool.
That's
Wrigley
sick.
Field, I'm a huge Cubs fan.
Yeah.
All swag putters on this side, or putter head cover swag. Got all my Scotties over here. Pretty cool. And then Hartford gave me this gift as a signed Coach K jersey with 7. It's a Duke jersey signed by Coach K. 7, commemorating the 7 birdies I made to win.
That's pretty sick.
At Hartford.
That's
awesome.
a
pretty cool gift. Yeah, it's got some fun stuff down here. Masters, it's a gift they gave the players in the Masters, I think in 15. It's a clock.
Do you have a par 3 thing for the Masters?
Yeah, I got that upstairs.
Oh, it's upstairs.
That's Hartford. That's the plaque that's at TPC
that's
in
cool.
Cromwell there that they put up. And then I just got a new TrackMan simulator put in, so I do a lot of work down here, setting up different shots I want, and can throw football on that TV. And yeah, it's kind of the man cave down here, but it's pretty cool. Yeah, it came out great.
Everybody watching is extremely jealous of this man cave. I can tell you that.
I know I am.
Come to Scottsdale and come hang out.
Salivating. Golly.
Yeah, I will definitely. I'll have to go check that out with a good glass of wine, of course. Too.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some good wine upstairs.
Hey, I got to ask though. Bryson, everybody talks about. He's obviously pretty polarizing on tour. What do you have any experience with him or thoughts?
Bryson stories.
Yeah, any good stories?
I do have a few Bryson stories. what will I say? I am amazed the changes he was able to make. Like, it just to transform your body and your game to like understand where he could pick up strokes on all of us and to just go gung-ho head first into the distance, into evolving his swing, his body, his diet. Like, that's something I just can't do. I'm not really interested in doing it, but I just couldn't do with being the father I want to be, being the husband I want to be. Like, he's just at a time in his life where he can do that, and is just so driven, so passionate. I respect the heck out of him for going down that rabbit hole and to seeing and becoming a major champion shortly after. I mean, it really is incredible. So that's what makes him unique. Like, he beats to that drum of personal excellence. And there aren't many people that have that degree of drive and passion and willing to do what it takes in order to make it happen. And I just think it's impressive. Whether you like him or not as a person, I don't think it's insignificant to me. Like, we're probably not going to share a bunch of meals together. But that being said, as a golfer and as a fellow competitor of his, I respect what he's done immensely.
Yeah,
politically correct enough for you then?
No, it's good. Yeah. I mean, I was hoping for a little something, controversial, but that's okay. I've heard that. I respect him too, though. Now DB on the other hand, he could go off on a tangent.
No, I respect him. I respect what he's done. We've talked about this
professionally. Absolutely, yeah.
I don't think we're going to get anything controversial out of Streels here. Do you have any good funny interactions with Bryson, or like head scratcher moments where you walk away and you're like, what did that guy just say?
He did have a funny one. I remember we were playing together at Pebble on number 12, the par 3. And so this was when the books like weren't limited on their size. So they like Paul Tesori with Webb had like that huge piece of paper and players, like he's like analyzing the putt. So Bryson kind of had one of those at Pebble Beach. So, I mean, Pebble Beach, let's be honest, it is the hardest green reading golf course probably in arguably the world, if not the United States. Like, it's just,
wow.
You have to trust your feel, your senses. Everything pulls to that ocean immensely. Like, you're on the side of a cliff. Like, it's a massive feel golf course. And so, I mean, Bryson had this putt, I'll never forget, kind of straight up the hill on 12. And everything breaks hard to the left towards the ocean. And he's reading his deal, and I don't even know if he hit a good putt, but clearly the putt broke left. And in his book or his analysis, he thought it was straight or would go right. And he just had a little moment with his book at that time that he just, let's say he got the better end of the battle with him in the book. And to me, I just, as a veteran who'd played Pebble Beach literally hundreds of times, and just know that whole green breaks massively to the right to left. It just was kind of a funny moment. You kind of had to be there, but it was like, dude, you got to trust your senses and your feeling. You got to look to that big ocean over there and know that every putt kind of goes that direction.
There's more to it than just
clearly he's won more than me, and will make a lot more money than I do in my career. But that being said, no, I really do think deep down he's a good guy, and like I said, he's just passion and pursuit of excellence in golf is really second to none. I mean, we really haven't seen that outside of Tiger in a while. Like, it's just it's very single-minded, but I respect it. To be able to do that is unique, and he's got the drive and the passion for it. So.
You finished T29 on your first year on tour at the U.S. Bank Championship in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Okay? You made
Monday
almost $22,000.
Yeah.
So
I was the richest guy in the Midwest that night.
There you go. Well, that's good.
Coors Lights were on me. Yes.
Well, that leads to my question, because T29 will get you over 50,000 now. But do you remember what you did with that money? When you got it, did you splurge on anything in particular?
Yeah, well, I think I got a wedding ring. Yeah, I did splurge. I got a very, very important, piece of splurge there. But
that's good.
I'll never. No, I mean, that was, that was a game changer for me. That was life-changing for me. It as a mini tour guy who literally was dead broke, multiple times, living out of my car. working at Kierland Golf Club down the street here I made $6.15 an hour. I'd work 6 a.m. till 1 p.m., have lunch, and then I'd play golf till dark every day. Work at Whisper Rock on the weekends just to make decent money, make about $150 a loop or something, but saving to get into tournaments, saving for Q school. That finish at a PGA Tour event not only solidified my belief in myself that I could and did belong out there, but it gave me some resources to actually pay for Q school that year and to pay a few sponsors back who believed in me and to, like I said, buy a wedding ring. Just normal life stuff that, people look at the money that's made out there and it's incredible and it's life-changing, but there's a lot of times where you give up and sacrifice quite a bit to get to that point. And it's the people that were with you in those moments that you have to remember and appreciate, on the other side of it. So I never have, and I've never forgotten those people. And to this day, a lot of them are my dear friends and like second parents to me. But it's been a heck of a journey and a ton of fun.
You really had quite the year at the majors this year.
Yeah.
With coming down the stretch at the PGA. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you wanted to get the job done, but it was such a good turnout there with a T8, then a T15 at the U.S. Open, T19 at the Open. Like what was it specifically that clicked for you this season around the major specifically?
Yeah. I mean, clearly you got to play well to finish there, but mentally I was comfortable. I was confident. I wasn't going to let those finishes, whether win, lose, or draw, define me, if that makes sense. And I was just comfortable. I was comfortable with the result. What I was like passionate about was enjoying the moment, was enjoying the present. And all of a sudden that changes everything. When you're not if you're like proud of something you've done in the past, like that's just your ego talking of how good you used to be or could be. And if you're like thinking about the future, a lot of times that's just fear of what might happen, whether it's good or bad. And neither of those, it's bad energy on both sides of it. So it's like sweet performances and like really peak athletic performances are done in the moment and present. And sometimes we just freak ourselves out, right? I mean, especially those big tournaments, you're like, oh, it's a big tournament. And I think I played in nearly 30 majors now. I finally got to a point, I hadn't had a top 10 in one. I was like, this is getting kind of silly. It's like, if I get there, someone's got to win, like just go for it. Who cares? Just go for it. Whether I shoot 80 or 60, it's like my wife's still going to love me and the kids are going to hug me. They don't care, but like, go for it. Because I don't want to look back, back Tampa, what happened was the exact opposite of what happened the year before in Puerto Rico. And Tampa would have never happened if Puerto Rico hadn't happened. What happened in Puerto Rico is I had a 3-shot lead, was playing the best golf of my life, should have won the tournament by 8 shots, and I played not to lose and I ended up losing. And it just ticked me off, to be honest. It really pissed me off. I said, I'm not going to, again, allow myself to lose it myself. Like if someone beats me, fine. If I don't play well that day, fine. But I'm not going to mentally give it away. That just infuriated me. So Tampa, the next year, and I come out in final day where no one thought I'd have a chance. I said, I'm going to play to win this thing, and I shot a bogey-free 67, ended up winning the tournament. But I was having so much fun, I wanted to keep playing. Like I really did. Like it was over, and I was just having a blast with my caddy and just was playing well. So that was kind of the secret. I guess it's part maturity, part age, part just caring the right amount, right? I mean, it's really enjoying the moment and being present in it, and just trusting your work, trusting your talents, and going for it.
So I think we have. So your coach is it Jake Thurm?
Jake is a good buddy of mine. We've worked together many years. He knows my game. He knows my game pretty well. Yeah.
Okay. We have a mutual friend with him, and we did. I think we can say this, and you'll be okay. I think you'll laugh at this. But we made a little meme about you when you were looking to lead to win the PGA, because everybody's looking at Brooks and, oh my God, Phil's going to take this down. And so we did this, but Jake really thought this was funny. I'll see if I can throw it up here on the screen, and hopefully you don't hang up on us. But it just felt like, we all know that guy who, like, how did he get her? and I don't know. We felt like that was a pretty good piece of content, you know. And, but anyway, Jake thought that was pretty funny, and I think he showed it to you. Did he show it to you?
I actually have not seen that. No.
You don't remember?
No.
Well,
I appreciate you showing it though.
Well, yeah, we wish you would have, man. We wish you would have. Was that just because, you know, if you would have won, we wouldn't have to deal with all Phil's insufferable, you know, ego stroking at every possible turn.
Yeah.
What was that like, by the way? Like, just in the madness, playing in front of what was going on with Brooks and Phil behind you on Sunday?
It was awesome. It was awesome. And I mean, I birdied the first 2 holes. I was tied to the lead on the third tee. And that's one shot I wish I had back, was third tee shot. That's where it kind of hit me, where I was like, oh, I'm leading a major on Sunday. And it was a perfect 3-wood. It had the tee up and it was downwind. I mean, the number was like 285, 290 front, but you had some junk you had to cover at 260. I mean, with the helping wind, it really wasn't in play for a 3-wood. And I kind of just hit a don't hit it left 3-wood swing and hung it out to the right, and it caught in that sand hazard area and made a bogey there. And kind of, it was a perfect club. If I just rip it, it probably goes on the green, and who knows what happens. But I kind of lost some flow there and made some nice saves. It was a solid round of golf. I was proud of 16. My ball, that 6-iron into that par 5 was like, if that's a yard right, that's a kick and eagle, and it kicks down to the left. And I didn't get that up and down, and then I kind of knew I wasn't going to win there. But it was fun. I mean, play with Louis. We were just neck and neck all day. He finished. He got me in the end, and then Phil hung on there, and he played great. It really was. It was an incredible championship. I think it's a historical championship, clearly for Phil. But to see the fans, it felt like, you know, we had full fans out there. We had energy. We had screaming and excitement, and a great golf course. It was set up just brilliantly by the PGA. But those are what it's what we do it for. You know, it's like to be in those moments and see what you got. And some days you got it, and some days you don't. And either way, you wake up the next day trying to get better. So I don't know. I loved it. I loved every second of it, and I hope I can get back in that heat on a Sunday again.
What are we missing, I guess, on a course setup like that, where we may only look at distance of the course, but then somebody, and not that you're a short knocker by any means, I'm a true short knocker, but somebody that's shorter off the tee is going to be able to compete and win there like you almost could do. Like, what's something we're missing with the course setup that we should be looking at instead of just length when we see such a beast of a course like Kiowa?
Yeah. So clearly you're talking about gambling advice, right? So
yes.
Yes.
I technically can't talk about that, but if I were, I would say, you know, it's funny thing, like you look at someone's history on a golf course, it's pretty darn accurate. You know, clearly you think of Freddie Couples at Augusta. He finished like top 6 there for 30 years straight, it seemed like some courses we just, like, they don't look as challenging to us. Hartford, to my eye, it just suits, like, the hard holes don't look hard. I go to a course like Honda, the hard holes look impossible. Like, how do you make a par on that golf hole? Like, how's Matt Jones shot like 61 or 62 and 20-mile-an-hour wind? Like, that's not possible on that golf course. But it's just kind of funny. It's individual, and I think it's relatively consistent year after year. The tricky ones are, you just don't know when the putter is going to heat up, right? I mean, it's like there's certain weeks you just can't miss, and there's certain weeks you can't hit the hole from 3 feet, and that's just golf. So it is hard to predict those. I would say look at players like flows, right? 2, 3, 4 week stretches. How's that energy going? How's that play? How's that play going? Is it going to last forever? Clearly not. So, you know, you kind of maybe get on somebody and then you got to kind of back off here after a few weeks. But, and also some players, you know, maybe if they got a big win or something, they kind of take it easy for a few months after that too. There's certain players who go different ways with that. Some hammer down and say, I'm playing well, I want to win again. And you got other players like, got my win. Let me go drink a little wine with my friends and take a little breather. So does that definitely not answer your question well enough? But
no, that's interesting. And that does lead into a couple questions I had already. So thinking about like when you talked about looking at their last 3 or 4 events, which obviously we do, and we would call that, all right, what kind of form are they in, right?
Sure.
But I think sometimes for us, or for the casual golfer or golf fan playing DraftKings or doing whatever, like what we think is good form or bad form, I think sometimes a tour player would be like, are you freaking kidding me, man? Like, I'm still doing just fine. So like the question is, what does good form mean to you? So can you be in good form if you're coming off of a miscut or back-to-back miscuts? And how do you know
100%.
how do you know when you're in good form?
It's a great question. I don't think one time in my 15 years on PGA Tour would I say I'm playing bad right now. Just mentally, personally, like I can't think that way.
Good.
That because I just can't have success.
I think that's probably a good thing to do.
Well, but you know what I mean? Like mentally as an athlete, you can't have that sort of self-belief. So in my mind, I'm either playing really great or I'm on the verge of playing really great. But that's how I
love that.
That's how I look at it. And so clearly, there's things I need to work on, or there's things that aren't as tight as I want them, or that I got a few bad breaks last week. Like it's close. It's always close. So, and then sometimes you're in the flow where you almost don't even realize you finish in 3 or 4 top 10s in a row or something like that. It's not that you're playing differently than you are if you miss some few cuts in a row. You're just making a couple more putts at the right time, or all of a sudden you're on a course you really like and you're just kind of comfortable, and maybe your family's in a really good spot that time and you're just kind of like enjoying your time out there. Like it's just, you know what I mean? It's just, there's different, it's life, right? There's different
strokes gained home life.
Seasons of life. Yeah. I mean, it really is true. And so, it's hard to know when it's going to click either way, but, I would start with past performance on the golf course.
Yeah,
probably the week or two before. You can even see like strokes gained, maybe in certain, pick out certain strokes gained statistical. What do you call them? Different measures, and then just kind of see if we've had improvement or which way are you going with those strokes gained approach and strokes. Clearly, we know the most important ones are. But the approach, per green is the most important one for success for us out on the PGA Tour. So see how someone's kind of doing the past few weeks and trying to do some analysis in that way.
Yep, we do it every week, man. Every single week. So for you specifically, what are the courses that are out there on tour right now that you kind of every year? I mean, obviously you mentioned the event in Cromwell, Connecticut for the Hartford. What are those courses that you just circle and go, man, like this is my spot? When you get there, it's like, this is where I have the best shot of taking down that third PGA Tour victory.
I don't look at it like this is where I'm going to play well, but I do have spots where I love getting off the airport or getting off the airplane and getting into that airport. And Hartford is one, Hilton Head is one, Tampa is one, the Players is one. It's funny because I always tell people I can play great at the Players Championship, and I finished second to Tiger there in 13. And I looked at my performance there the last 7 or 8 years. I don't think I've made the cut since 2013. Like literally 14 through 21.
Well,
I missed the cut 7 years in a row.
16 and
you
17, you finished 72nd and 74th.
Yeah, I mean I was right there. It's right there in the hunt.
Yeah. It looks like since the runner-up, the putting has left you at the Players based on your strokes gained data. It's really been the putter. Yeah,
it's fascinating mentally because I literally think that that's a great golf course for me. I really do. Like I just like it suits my eye. I've got great memories. But yeah, my finishes there have not been strong, but that's another place I love getting to. It is like our major. It's our PGA Tour major. They take great care of us, our families. We stay at a great little condo right near the water. I mean, it's an awesome week. But I would say that's one of my favorite weeks. But I tend to leave on Friday night or Saturday morning.
2022 is the year. Okay, 2022
maybe it's
the year. We're going to turn that around.
The first one up to 20 mil, so it'd be a good week to
now you can turn it on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
I
it's
was
time.
waiting for
Finally, the money is where it should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel now it's
About
further,
damn
yes.
time, Jay.
Yes.
How? Last question, then we're going to get you in the native area with some quick hitters here. You just kind of being there for 15 years and a staple in the PGA Tour. Like, how involved are you as a veteran in big picture decisions that the tour makes? Are you on the pack? Are you involved in these scheduling things, PIP money? The betting landscape is having the PGA Tour make a lot of decisions. Green reading books going away, all that stuff. How involved are you in some of that?
Yeah, I've been very involved. I've been on the pack, which listeners might not know. There's a 16-player council, the Player Advisory Council. You're elected by your fellow peers out there and appointed by the tour as well. I think I've been on that 12 of my 15 years on tour. Wow. I love being on it. It comes to like 3, 4, 5 meetings a year, usually at a tournament spot for an hour and a half or 2 hours. We just sit down and talk about important issues. Sometimes not that important, but sometimes very important issues. And we just kind of air it out and kind of say what we're feeling. We're trying to represent the whole tour body and kind of figure things out. The next step on top of that is the policy board. That's the PGA Tour board, PGA Tour, board of directors. And we have 4 spots on that. That's elected one new player each year for a 3-year term. And I was elected there in 2018. I was on the board 18, 19, 20. Kind of came off right before the craziness of COVID. So I was lucky in that regard, but
wow.
That was fascinating to me. I loved it. I love the relationships, our board members, some incredibly influential and brilliant people who support us, who've got our back, whether it's long-term investments, whether it's what to do with our reserve money, whether it's the TPC network. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into the PGA Tour, and kind of pulling the screen back and seeing a lot of that as a player and as a, I was always interested in school and went to a nice university and kind of like enjoy that business side of the sport. And so I got a good view of that, and who knows in the future what that could hold in my professional life.
Well, good luck being on the board with Kisner and getting anything done, right? Our boy Kiz. I'm sure
Kiz has done a good job. I've been impressed with Kiz. He is.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Maybe he's growing up a little.
Maybe he's finally growing up a little bit.
I think a little bit.
All right. Well, now we're going to take you into the native area. All right. So when we're looking at the PGA Tour app and we're following players, you have the shot tracker. Now, usually you are not in the native.
He's
area.
never in the native.
You're
area.
never in the native area, but now we're gonna put you in there because you never know what you're gonna get. So
until he put that 46-inch driver in his hand, then he got in the native area.
Got a few native area. How did I hit it there?
Yeah. So here we go. What is your hidden talent?
Guitar.
Okay, I like that. Your favorite guilty pleasure artist or band to listen to?
I mean, I don't think it's that guilty, but I love Justin Timberlake.
Okay.
Is that guilty?
I'm all right. Nah. I'm
mean,
okay with that.
Yeah. In sync
He's
days, yes. Now, no. I think you're good.
Yeah.
What was the first live concert you ever went to, and also what was the most recent one you've been to?
Yes. Gosh, I was a huge Dave Matthews nerd, like through the whole 90s and early 2000s. I've been to a ton of Dave Matthews shows. I think my first one actually was a band called The Samples. If you guys don't know The Samples.
I know The Samples? Yes.
Heck yeah,
I
dude.
love them.
Great band, great traveling band. And fascinating, a young girl got on stage yodeling, opening up for him, and it was Jewel. Talking like 1992 or 93 or something.
Wow.
Like 14, 15 years old. Jewel, one of her first shows, opened up for The Samples.
Yeah.
I was sitting there in the first row. Crazy.
That was I was a big Samples fan too. So
they're great.
They're
great.
Never heard of them.
I never thought that I would hear that as an answer.
Pat, I feel like the connection that you just felt with Streels right there was what I felt when I asked Harold Varner his favorite funny movie, and he said Pootie Tang, and me and him shared that. I feel like the same thing just happened with you and Streels and The Samples.
Rank yourself in terms of funniest guys on tour, and who would you say is the funniest?
Yeah, but you got to rank yourself too.
Rank yourself.
I don't know. I mean, I can be a pretty good smart aleck. I like to give it to the young guys pretty good when they're when I hit it inside of them, like I said, when they drive it way past me, I'll probably give a little something to them there. But I mean, as far as a comedic round of golf, I would say one of my funniest was Pat Perez and Charlie Hoffman. Three of us together. I mean, it is so much under your breath. Like, nice shot when you really hit a bad one, or like nice putt when you miss like a 4-footer coming off the green. Nice putt there. Like, it is nonstop with those two. So I would say those two are up there. Not quite mean, but very, very funny. But I'm
Very
right
close.
on the verge of being too mean. But really enjoyable to play with. Yeah.
What is your most memorable caddy story that you've got?
15 years, man. You got to have a good go-to caddy story.
Like a funny one, a good one, a serious one.
I think a good one, a funny one. Yeah, we don't want this.
You know what's I'll tell you, I was actually telling him today, it was and I don't even know if he'll remember it, but on the 18th tee at Tampa, my caddy at the time, AJ Montesino, we had a great run for 5 years. I birdied 17 to a back right pin to get a 2-shot lead over Boo Weekley. All I needed to do was bogey 18 at Tampa to win my first PGA Tour event. So I am like clearly freaking out. Grab driver, kind of go back to him. I'm taking a while on the tee, and I go, dude, we just need bogey to win. Why don't we just hit hybrid down there? I could flip like 5 or 6 iron up there. We can hack it on the green and 2-putt and win this thing. And he looks at me. He looks me right in the eye, and he pulls the driver out, and he goes, hit this driver down the fairway. And like his passion and his belief in me, like, fired me up. And I stepped up and freaking sent this thing straight down the pipe. Had a flip wedge in and 2-putt and won the tournament. Like, it was a cool, good moment there. He stepped up. It's something I'll never forget.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, what's your most memorable fan interaction?
You get some funny ones, especially like clearly at my level on the PGA Tour. And I say my level because clearly I've been out there a while, but I'm not like the most, you see me at an airport and you don't get recognized. Like, if I get recognized, it's usually like a 12-year-old to 14-year-old kind of huge golf kiddo, or like a 75-year-old, like huge golf nerd, like, it's like the full titles deck out. And sometimes they just look at you and kind of point. And actually, I was buying my car the other day. There was a guy just like that. He's this big guy with this titles hat. And he's just staring at me. And I'm like buying a minivan right in front of him. And he's like pointing at me. He's like, where do I know you from? And I go, are you a golfer? And clearly he's a golfer. He's like decked out head to toe. And he goes, wait, Kevin? Streelman? So I'm like, yeah, man. He comes over. We chat for a little bit. So it's always like, it's great. I mean, we just love this game, right? It's so cool to be able to share it with others, to teach others, to show our children now, to give back. It's really cool. But our fans are the best. Our volunteers are the best. Our fans are the best, and it's just going to grow with like Netflix coming in next year, and the worldwide talent level of the game of golf is just astronomical right now. So it's going a great direction.
So you don't get heckled too much then? No heckling of...
No, man. I make it through there pretty good.
You play in the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, I guess, every year now with Larry Fitzgerald, right?
Yeah, I think it's our 5th or 6th time. Yeah.
And you've won twice?
Yeah, 2 times.
Now, some may say this. I'm not saying this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Not saying this. Some may say this.
Go ahead and say it.
Could you consider or say that Larry Fitzgerald, Fitzy as I like to call him, is a sandbagger? Is he a sandbagger?
I will say this about Larry Fitzgerald. And when you meet him and know him, he is the most kind, honest, like inspirational person you will ever come across. And he posts every single score. If he even like a ball moves in a bunker that no one would see, I promise you Larry will call himself on that penalty. And when he first got into AT&T and we finished 2nd, he got so like, and then we won the next year. We went 2nd and then 1st. He got so much crap from everybody about like, but he hadn't played golf long enough to really understand like what that all meant.
Yeah.
And so he was like, Sorry, my AirPods just going dead. You still hear me okay?
Yeah.
He was just so embarrassed by people claiming he would do something like that. Literally, the year after we won, if you look at our score, I think we may have finished last. Like, he was mortified that people would think that of him. And but the biggest difference with Larry, his handicap is true, but he isn't scared of that situation. Like, he isn't scared of leading a tournament. He's not nervous of leading a tournament. He's a
gamer.
Absolute gamer like I've never witnessed before. And the other thing is he's pretty darn good inside of 150 yards. And they set the course up at like 6,000 yards for the AMs during the AT&T. He hits his irons 15 yards longer than I do. So he just hits 3 and 4 irons off all the par 4s. He's got wedges into the holes. They had him at a 8 or 9 handicap last time, which if you see him hit a driver, you will say he's at least a 15 handicap. But out there, we just have him hack around 3 and 4 irons. His caddy, our guy Mike Szabo, caddies on those greens 300 days a year and just tells him where to putt. Larry putts him there, and we've had a great run. So no one's ever won 3, but I think they're going to put him at like a 2 handicap next year. So I will say one other thing. I do think I made 26 birdies the last one we won.
Well, it helps.
So
that helps.
That kind of helps the score a little bit.
26 birdies.
It may have been 24 birdies and an eagle, I think it was, but it was. I played pretty well that year. I think I finished second. He contributed on. We finished 34, 35 under, so nine other ones.
Well, I'm glad we can put that all to bed.
Yeah.
I think Fitzy is.
We squashed the rumors. All right. Life after golf. Yeah. What's your dream scenario? Life after golf. What would you do?
It's a great question. I do want to give the Champions Tour a good run. I think I would love it and enjoy that. Also, my kids will be starting high school around that time, so I don't want to be gone a ton. They might not want me around very much, so maybe it will work out well. But I would love to do that for a few years. And honestly, I would love to do some sort of teaching and academy potentially. I love helping kids. I love like I've seen, being the big brother to some of these younger players out here, whether it was like an agent role, whether it was a more of a teaching role, but I think I could bring kind of the whole package to really good young players as far as what it would take to get out there and then what it takes to stay out there once you get out there. And so that's something I could maybe see in the future, but I hope I can still have a few more good years here on tour. But you do start thinking about that as you get a little bit older, for sure.
Yeah, that agent thing, that makes me, I mean, again, with the Duke and the business background and all that'd be right up your alley. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, I think I could enjoy that.
All right, not Pat Perez, not Charlie Hoffman, not Joel Damon, not Kevin Kisner. We know those guys. Hidden gem personality on the PGA Tour, like hidden gem, like, man, more people need to be around this guy.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite is Gino. I mean, Joel's caddy.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best. He's just the greatest dude ever. And you mentioned Harry. Harry's a legend.
Yep. Legend.
Harry Higgs. Golly. There really aren't too many that you get paired with. You get the text with your groups that I'm like bummed about playing with. If anything, it's just like slow play players, but most of them I still enjoy like talking with and getting to know them, because so many of us grew up playing against each other. I say that now. A lot of the guys I played with kind of aren't anymore. But I mean, Ches Reavy is a great dude. He lives right near me here. We have a ton of fun together. He's a good smart ass too. But I mean, Max Homa's hilarious. I love Max.
Yep.
Tony Finau is the greatest dude in the world. Just a class act of a human being. But even like when they were coming out, those young guys, I call them young guys, but I mean the Justin, Jordan, Rickies, I mean, those just, you can tell they just were raised well. They just like are good people. And I always like root for them just because clearly the passion they showed in the Ryder Cup, they love the country, they love the tour, they love like what they do, and it just kind of shows. And I really appreciate that. It's like seeing caliber of people and what they represent and how they represent it is important to me.
What's your go-to Tiger story?
Man, so my rookie year, I was right in the middle of the reshuffle. So I got in about 30 events of the West 30 events. I'm sorry, I was 30th out of 50 in that category. So you don't necessarily, like, you're not going to get into Phoenix. You're not going to get into Riviera. You're going to get into maybe Hawaii, maybe Torrey, and you'll definitely get into Pebble. So there's a lot of pressure on a rookie because you don't know how many events you're going to get into. So I just get into Hawaii my rookie year, make the cut, top of the world, don't have a great weekend, go to Palm Springs, miss the cut. I go to Torrey Pines, and I'm 4th alternate. So I get a tap on my shoulder Thursday morning from a rules official and say, Kevin, you're in. Get to the South course in 7 minutes. Me and my caddy are like running out there, get to the tee, out of breath. Long story short, I shoot 69 on the South. Next day, like 66 or 67 on the North. I'm leading the golf tournament. This is 2008, and I'm done early. I'm watching Tiger's name come up. He finishes the day tied with me. I get a final group pairing with Tiger Woods Saturday of Torrey Pines in 2008. I mean, I slept like an hour that night. Like literally Courtney and I were just freaking out. And I'll never forget, like, walking off the putting green to the first tee, and it's just a mob of people, tens of thousands of people. And I remember Tiger had a black vest, purple shirt on, obviously all the Nike stuff. And I shot a 73 or 74 that day as a rookie, and 30 event as a member. It was the greatest experience I could ever have as a professional golfer. Like, everything since then has seemed smaller to scale. But the shot I remember on number 11 is the par 3 at Torrey Pines. It's a 2-tier green. It's got a back left shelf, back right shelf. They always put 1 pin on each one and then 2 in the front. Saturday was a back left pin. Wind was slightly off the left, and we were up 1 tee box. I had the honors, and Tiger was a full club longer than me, and it was about 200-yard shot. I had a beautiful 5-iron to the middle of the green. It sticks, kind of spins back. I got 25 feet up the hill. I get a really nice clap. Like, it was a great golf shot. The greens were super soft. Like, literally long irons were just hitting and sucking back. Tiger at this point, I think, was like 4 or 5 under on the day and had a 6-shot lead for the tournament. So it's Saturday. He's got a 6-shot lead on the back. And he's just looking at his bag. He's looking down at his bag. And I see him pull 4-iron. I'm like 4 feet away from him. I'm like, 4-iron? It's way too much club for him on this shot. And doesn't even talk with Stevie. Walks up and look at his grip, and he's like literally up, like he's gripping to here. Like his pointer finger is on the steel. That's how much he's choking up on this 4-iron. He proceeds to hit this like hold cut 4-iron. It starts in the middle of that left bunker. The wind pulls it to the pin. It lands at the base of the hill, goes up the back hill to the pin, and literally lips out on the top side and stops like a foot on the other side of the hole. And the place clearly is going bananas. And he looks up at Stevie and just winks. And I knew in that moment he had hit the exact shot he wanted to hit, that he needed to hit to get to that pin, because 5 or 6-iron for him would have hit and spun down the hill. The only way he could get to that pin was to hit 4-iron, and the only way he could knock off enough club was to choke up and to hit a cut. And he did it all perfectly, and he lipped it out, and he had a 6-shot lead. Like, it was the coolest moment to be literally like 4 feet away from someone at the upper echelon of excellence, pulling it off in the biggest stage. And it was the best shot I've ever seen, and it's a shot I'll never forget. And it was just like a Saturday afternoon with Tiger.
Jeez, that's unreal.
Yeah.
We got to end on that.
Cool.
I can't take any more.
Yeah,
that was
it was good.
That is awesome.
Great story. Well, Kevin, you've been great. We appreciate you coming on
my
the
pleasure,
podcast. Just a lot of great insight. You are a quintessential gentleman, and that was some funny stuff too. So we really appreciate that and your time. I know we probably went a little longer than we told them you were going to go, and that's what happens. We do that happens all the time.
My kids are waiting at school. It's no big deal. They just sit there for a little longer.
Uh-oh.